Congressman Jason Chaffetz sits on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
Oh, glad to be here.
What did you learn today?
Well, just as you laid out, that's exactly right. You had the chief security officer for dealing with this. We heard testimony from 3 today. None of them would sign off on the security parameters, and yet Health and Human Services went ahead and launched the website anyway. So they refused to sign off, and yet it was launched anyway.
And why did they do that? Have you learned why, when these cyber experts raised some concerns, they were dismissed?
They had not done any of the security, or I shouldn't say any, they had not completed or done certain segments of the security testing. They didn't even try it. They didn't even see if the locks were working properly. I asked one of them, for instance, if the secure socket layers, the SSL as it's called, and how the JavaScript was working. She had no clue. I mean, she had absolutely no idea. I asked her what percentage of that data going across the line was encrypted at the beginning, how much of it is encrypted now. She didn't even know really what secure socket layers were, which scares the living daylights out of me. Anybody who knows anything about tech, you better darn well have that stuff encrypted as it goes across the wires.
So is it your conclusion that HHS was so interested, or the administration was so concerned about meeting the deadline and getting it online, that they ignored some of these cyber security issues?
They blew They didn't even do the testing. They didn't even have time to do the testing, let alone figure out what the results of that testing were. So to the point that Chairman Lamar Smith was making in another hearing, they didn't necessarily even know what was happening or not happening. And again, this has gone on for a long time. I don't have the confidence today that they've actually resolved that if they can't certify to us and tell us that 100% of the data is going through a secure socket layer. That's what's scary about it.
So today, as we speak, it's your feeling that healthcare.gov is not secure?
It scares the living daylights out of me. When I had a chance, I did it in person. This is a huge, you're combining the IRS, Health and Human Services, your healthcare information, your credit card information. You got a lot of personal data. We have even a single breach of that, and it's going to be devastating to a family to try to get themselves back in order. That's what's so scary about this.
Congressman, where do you go from here? What more information do you need before you can take some sort of action?
Well, we need to understand why and how they made these decisions. They tried to portray it, Secretary Sebelius has tried to portray this as if it were law that they had to launch October 1st. That's not in the law. That was not the law. But somehow they blew past all the security parameters, the testing, and just said, hey, we're going to launch anyway. That had never, ever happened before. That's a testimony that we had heard from the 3 witnesses in the Oversight Committee. And we need some certification about the ongoing security of this information.
Do you want to interview Secretary Sebelius again, or are you looking for answers elsewhere?
I want the results. I want the truth. The Secretary has got to take some responsibility. But when you have sitting before you the 3 people who's got the title chief in their name, information, security in front of you, and none of them can give you definitive answers about how the secure socket layer even works or JavaScript, then we got a problem.
All right, Congressman Jason Chaffetz, thanks for bringing to us what you learned in your hearings today. We'll talk again.
Thank you.